What's going on, guys? Alex here with that one full EDC, and today I'm going to do my full review on the Kizer Knives Militaw. Now, this is a knife that came in via the Lefty passaround group. This has been out for a couple months now, and it's been a very, very popular model from Kizer. Heard a lot of really good feedback for it, and when I saw Kevin added it to the passaround, as well as the Momo and the Banish, they were all part of a group. I knew I had to check it out, and honestly, out of that, group of three, I was the most excited for this one because, like I said, I heard a lot of really good, feedback from it, and people seemed like they were really, really enjoying the model. It had always caught my eye just from, very simplistic, aesthetics and usability, and it just looked like a good knife all around. And it really lived up to those expectations that I had for it coming in. I've had it for a couple weeks now, and I've really enjoyed carrying it, really enjoyed, fidgeting with it. At its bare bones, it's a great EDC knife. And so without further ado, we're going to jump right into the review with materials. So on the blade, we have S35VN. There's a Kizer logo right there. Nice, simple drop point. It is in their stone wash that has Kizer does a stone wash that has a little bit of a polish to it, a little bit of reflectiveness, which is nice because to me, stone washes are really nice because they hide use, they hide wear, they hide, nicks and, scratches and things like that. But with this, you get a little bit of, best of both worlds with that reflectability, a little bit of a, kind of a polish, a little bit of a showiness with that durability of a stone wash. But S35VN, Kizer logo right there, hole for deployment. This is a Jonathan Styles design, who has a couple other designs, I believe, with Best Tech and with Concept. And he actually is just coming out with, in April, or it's now April, later this month, a new fixed blade from Kizer. And there's a couple other variations of this knife, which we'll touch on after we finish the rest of the reviews. But Styles design, Militaw right there. This is a frame lock, as you can see, milled titanium pocket clip that is righty only. You have a titanium frame here with this micarta inlay in here with 4 points of screws, which is nice, very simple. You have a ton of lock bar access right there for the lock bar. As for internal milling, there are 5 little circles on the show scale side, and looks like 1, maybe 2 on the lock bar side. This knife has a pretty good feel to it. It's not overly heavy. It's pretty lightweight for the size of the knife. You have a front flipper there, as well as a hole for deployment. And again, just a clean, simple design. So easy 5. You guys know, I say this almost every video, but the knife has to have really bad materials for me to give it anything other than a 5. But titanium with micarta inlay, multiple ways of deploying the knife, S35VN, clean, nice drop point with, sort of a mirror stone wash. Really good materials, so it's a 5 out of 5. And like I said, there are currently only 2 variations of this knife out, and I will leave a link to White Mountain Knives down below if you guys are interested. They are all currently out of stock. However, when I got on to look for this specific version of the knife to see if it was available for you guys, I saw that there are 3 different White Mountain Knives exclusives dropping later in April, and they also have this version whenever it comes back in stock, and then they have the sort of bougied out version that Kizer has been releasing and sort of sending out to all the the bigger YouTubers and stuff like that. The last couple of weeks with the Purple Haze Fat Carbon and the S45VN all blacked out. They also have that version too, which is dropping. You guys are seeing this on Tuesday the 2nd. It's dropping tomorrow, actually. So if you guys see this and you're interested in that model, definitely recommend jumping on that. But the 3 different variations of the Militaw from White Mountain Knives, they all are basically the same version, but as for the inlays, one version has blue Richlight, one version has Altum, and one version has red micarta, and they all have 154 cm. So they're a little bit cheaper than this version, about $40 cheaper, which is nice, or excuse me, $30 cheaper, which is nice. If you guys are looking for more of a budget-friendly version. But yeah, that's all the variations, and like I said, the bougied out version, which is all blacked out, has Purple Haze Fat Carbon and S45VN on the blade, is also dropping tomorrow if you guys are seeing this video on the 2nd. But yeah, so next up, we're going to talk about aesthetic. And like I said earlier in the video, aesthetic is one thing that always kind of drew me to this knife. You know, Kizer does their thing where they release, like they give out like a little, they don't give out a pamphlet, but they post like a flyer almost at the beginning of every month, what the drops are going to be for that month, what the new knives are going to be, new models, things of that nature. And when I saw it, you know, way back, I think it was like late fall. It was definitely last year that this has been out. When I saw it, I was just kind of drawn, like, man, that's a clean looking knife. It's simple. It has really good body lines. You guys know I love kind of a squared off design, really simple blade shape. The clip looks really nice from an aesthetic standpoint. Frame lock has a nice, even, you know, cut out to it. Closed, it's really nice with that front flipper sticking out of there. Really, I can't think of anything that would prohibit me from giving this a 5. So that's what it's going to get in the aesthetics department. Next up is action. Now, there are 2 ways to deploy this knife. Like I've said a couple different times, you have the hole for deployment, and you also have the front flipper. The nice thing about the front flipper is you have jimping that goes the whole way up and around the flipper tab. Sometimes when you have front flippers, it literally stops like right at the apex of the tip, and then you have nothing to really like roll back onto. But this has jimping that rolls the whole way back over, which is 2 thumbs up for Kizer. I love that they did that. But the detent, nice and snappy. I know it's always hard for you guys to hear it on here, but I like to kind of, you know, show how nice the detent is. Makes for a great reverse flick. Fires out of there. Very, very snappy. Really nice thumb flick as well. I just put the outside here of the hole on my palm of my thumb. Fires right out of there. Bang. And then same thing. You can either do your nail or you can do your you know, finger pad up here, top of your finger. Pops right out of there. The reverse flick is one of the more satisfying ones I have handled from Kizer in quite a while, I think. It's just very well done. The way the hole is shaped, you have plenty of room, but it's not big enough to put your finger through, which you guys know I'm not a huge fan of. It just provides very, very satisfying, very snappy action. And then, of course, you have the front flipper. Pops right out of there. Really nicely tuned detent for both the hole and the front flipper, which is great. I love when companies are able to, you know, utilize both opening methods with, you know, the detent. Sometimes when you have multiple ways of deploying the knife, it can be a little bit tricky to, you know, dial in the detent for both of them, especially when you throw like a back flipper in. Luckily, this doesn't have that, but the front flipper works really well. One of the easier front flippers I've also, you know, done or handled in a while. Just really nicely done. You guys can hear that snap, which we'll talk about acoustics next. Then, of course, you have the drop. There is no blade play at all. This thing is locked up real nice. Drops to your nail. Basically, just move the knife. Drops to your nail. Move the knife a little bit. Little shake and it's home. You can also index finger flick it. Drops to your nail. I mean, it's just so smooth. Now, granted, this is a pass-around knife, so I mean, it's been passed around. People have carried it and fidgeted with it, and it's very well broken in, but that just shows you the level of action that Kizer is able to, you know, consistently produce and establish with their models. But all around, another 5, guys. I mean, it's just snappy, great action. You know, another thing is really underrated, but you have plenty of lock bar access right there for the close. 5 out of 5 on the action. Next up is acoustics. You guys can hear it's very well, not giving those tings or rings, but I mean, on that front flip, just so satisfying, just thwack. Also, you know, one of the more resounding sounding thwacks I've felt in a while from a pocket knife. Just bangs right out. The only thing that it's lacking is, you know, the fact that it doesn't have those high-pitched rings and tings that you can get from titanium knives. You know, I don't know if maybe a little bit more internal milling would have helped that, or if maybe the micarta is kind of eating up a little bit of that sound. But really, that's the only thing that I can kind of nitpick here. And unfortunately, that is going to keep me from giving its 5th 5 in a row here for my review. But it's going to get an easy 4.5 just because it's so, I mean, that is just just satisfying, guys. It really is. It just makes it's fun to fidget with when you get sounds like that. And again, the only thing that's keeping it from a 5 out of 5 is getting those high-pitched tings that you can get from titanium frame locks and, you know, models like that. Next up is ergos. Now, just by looking at this, you guys can probably already tell that this is a very, very easy knife to hold, a very comfortable knife to hold. I mean, the aesthetics, the lines, you have a straight line from here the whole way back. You have, you know, a curvature right here, but it's pretty parallel on both sides. And then you have a straight line from here the whole way up until you get to this recessed finger groove. And then you have this little landing choil up here you can use. Choked back, I can get all 4 fingers of this knife very, very easily. The pot clip is a milled clip. You know, works really well from an ergo standpoint. It's not causing a hot spot by any means. You do have some jipping up top here. You can kind of grab on. No, you can't kind of. You definitely can grab onto when you're choked up or choked back. Excuse me. But sometimes even when you're choked back, my thumb lands the whole way up here. If you're doing push cuts, you know, there's no jipping up here or anything like that. But this jipping isn't super aggressive anyway, so it's not really, you know, doing that much for you. But when you choke up, your ring finger, your middle finger goes here in the recessed area. The rest of your fingers kind of fall in line back here. Pointer finger wraps around and your thumb can either land right above the jipping right here on the hole, or it can land the whole way out here, which is really good for, you know, strength and durability for push cuts. It gives you that extra amount of kind of oomph to go through cardboard or things like that you're cutting through. But just a really, you know, easy knife to hold on to. You know, the rounded back here is really nice. There's no sharp edges or anything like that. The contouring is all really nice. It's really, really comfortable. And, you know, designs like this that are, again, simple, utilitarian, just kind of plain Jane, no frills, are my type of knives, guys. I really do gravitate towards designs like this that are just, you know, easy on the eyes and also easy on the hands, if that makes sense. But really, really comfortable. The micarta is a little bit dry, which kind of surprised me because I figured it'd be a little bit more saturated with oils from people's hands from, you know, the passaround group. But it's really nice micarta. Kizer does really good on their, you know, micarta quality. So another 5, guys. I knew that this was going to be a positive review going into it, and I can't think of anything that's really going to knock it that much more along the way. So this is going to be a pretty highly ranked knife in my review system. But next up is carry. You can only carry it right-handed. I guess I'm going to knock it a little bit there because you easily could have put a little filler tab right there. I mean, all it is one little screw. So you definitely could have added a little bit of a filler plate right there, and you could have carried it lefty. I know, you know, frame locks aren't the most lefty friendly, but being able to carry lefty would have been really nice for those lefties out there. So I guess I'm going to knock it a little bit there. But other than that, it carries really well. The pot clip, you know, functions super well. It is a little bit tight to getting in and out of, you know, your pants pockets and whatnot. You slowly get used to it as you carry the knife and as you utilize the knife. It's not a true deep carry, but you do get about that much sticking up out of your pocket, which I have no issues with. I really like the way that this is kind of parallelly rounded on both sides with like the clip screw. Not much of an issue at all. I definitely, you know, like this quite a bit as far as milled clips go. You guys know I tend to favor, you know, loop over style deep carry clips or wire clips, but really do like this milled clip. Sits in your pocket nice and straight. The blade sits in the handle pretty much, so I mean, it's a pretty slim carry. One thing I did not go over with you guys, and I apologize. It's been a little bit since I've done a review, a couple weeks. So I got to get back in the review thing here. But one thing I did not give you guys was specs. So overall length is 7.99 inches, blade length of 3.35 inches, blade thickness of 0.12 inches, handle length 4.65 inches, and it comes in weighing 3.92 ounces. So I think that's a really good weight for the size of a knife, under 4 ounces. And that means it carries really well, sits down in your pocket. You have no flipper tab or jipping or anything over here to prohibit, you know, getting your hand past the knife to reach things in your pocket that might be floating around underneath it. I've carried this in my jeans multiple times. I've tossed this in my gym shorts and my sweatpants around the apartment multiple times. This thing has seen a lot of carry, and I have no qualms with it, except for just the fact that it's going to be maybe a little bit of an issue for lefties because you didn't put a filler plate on there. So for that matter, I'm going to give it a 4.5. But as far as righties go, you know, pretty classic carry, pretty easy knife to carry. And yeah, but that takes me to my final category of price point slash value and would I recommend this knife. So price point, according to White Mountain Knives and Kizer and anywhere else you find it, is $159. I do think that is fair. I think anything that really Kizer produces with titanium, micarta, milled clip, multiple ways of deploying the knife, S35EN is not, you know, the most fancy steel in the world, but it's a good, well-known, well-rounded steel, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So anything that, you know, has that combination of materials for anything under $175, I think, is a very fair price. And of course, if you can find it in stock on White Mountain Knives, you can find, you know, you can get 10% off, and that saves you, you know, 15, 16 bucks. That gets you down to the 140s. I think that's a really good deal too. But you know, I think I can recommend this knife to anybody that really likes the design. This is one of the more well-made Kizer knives I've handled for a while, and that says a lot because I've been getting to check out most of the new options from Kizer every month for the past couple of months, which is awesome. I'm really happy to, you know, do that and be able to, you know, produce those videos for you guys. And Kizer is really, you know, on the up and up. I think that they are really killing it from, you know, the 50 to, like I said, 175, 200, 225 category. They have really come out swinging in the last year and a half a year, whatever it's been, making some bomb models. And I think the Militaw is definitely up there with some of those top models. But, you know, price point and value, I think that's very fair. I don't, you know, have any issues with spending $160 on this knife for the materials you're getting. So again, another $5. I don't even have to do my math to count up what this knife got on the review scale, but just a really clean knife and overall one of my favorite Kizers. And the three, you guys can see my fingers, the three White Mountain Knives exclusives with the red Richlight, the Ultim, and the the blue Richlight, the red micarta, and the Ultim. They're coming in at $130, so about $30 off for a different handle inlay, as well as 154 cm, which I still think is a very good steel, and Kizer really does it well. Those will be $130. Use 10% off code. You can get it down into like the 115-ish. I think that's a good price too. But yep, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just doing my math, just to confirm that my head is correct, but the Kizer Militaw is getting a 34 out of 35 on my review scale. That puts it in the fantastic knife category. It is up there with, you know, some really, really good knives, and I'm happy to say that I really enjoyed this knife. Jonathan Styles has a great design here, and I would love to get my hands on the little fixed blade version that is very, very similar to how this knife looks, that is coming out later this month to review for you guys. But yeah, let me know down below. Did you guys pick up a Militaw when it first dropped a couple months ago? Did you just get one recently? Did you get the newest bougie version with the Purple Haze Fat Carbon? Are you going to wait and get one of the White Mountain Knives versions? Let me know. I would love to hear what you guys have to say. But yeah, I'm going to wrap this up now. So this was my full review of the Kizer Knives Militaw. Huge shout out to Kevin over at Lefty DC for, you know, always putting stuff in the pass around group. You guys know I wouldn't get the review 75% of the knives that I get to review without Kev. So all love to you, Kev. And yeah, but I'm gonna, what am I saying? I'm going to wrap it up now, guys. Thank you guys again so much for watching and listening to me having a little mini stroke here on camera. But it's been a while. It's good to be back filming, and I got a couple more reviews for you guys this week, so stay tuned. But I'm going to wrap this up now. So thank you guys again so much for watching. I greatly appreciate each and every single one of you guys. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your morning, evening, day, night, whenever you're watching this, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Peace.